There's another player that has wronged Caitlin Clark, and they're out of the league.
Indiana Fever in the Chicago Sky here from Wintrust Arena. The Fever have really stretched out this one.
She took one shot at Caitlin Clark, and just like that, she disappeared from the league. Not benched, not suspended, gone, vanished. 1 minute she was strutting into pregame warmups, and the next she was alone in a car full of gym bags and broken dreams. Diamond DeShields, a player once seen as fierce and unshakable, made the wrong move at the worst possible time. And now, her career is smoldering in the ashes of a single brutal moment.
She is no longer in the league because she not only got let go by the Chicago Sky, she has been let go by the New York Liberty, and she's crying online about it.
But this isn't just about a foul. This isn't even about one game. This is about what happens when you go after the league's most valuable asset. Caitlin Clark isn't just another rookie. She's the WNBA's entire brand strategy in motion. And when DeShields slammed into her like a linebacker on a mission, she didn't just hit a player. She sent shockwaves through the entire league. What came next wasn't punishment. It was exile. A silent, ruthless exile. No announcements, no statements, just doors quietly closing one by one.
Caitlin Clark is trying to cut in this position right here, and Diamond DeShields just body checks her. Like, it's a foul. This sequence of play was wild. Absolutely, absolutely wild.
It happened during what should have been a routine game between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. The Fever had the lead. The tempo was calm. But then, in a flash, Diamond DeShields made her move, not toward the ball, not toward the basket, but directly toward Caitlin Clark. Her shoulder lowered, her eyes locked, her body language spelling out one thing: destruction. It wasn't defense. It wasn't hustle, it was frustration. And Clark, the face of the league, became the target.
Caitlin Clark gets hit from behind. How bad, egregious it was from Diamond DeShields. And Caitlin Clark jumps up and runs away from Diamond DeShields.
The hit wasn't subtle, it wasn't sneaky, it was explosive. Cameras caught every second. Social media lit up like a fuse had been lit. DeShields didn't just knock Clark down, she unleashed a firestorm. Viewers instantly recognized it wasn't an accident. There was intent behind it. And when DeShields extended a hand in mock sportsmanship, it only fueled the outrage. This wasn't a hard play gone wrong. It was a direct, aggressive assault on the WNBA's most marketable player. And the league? At first, it stayed dead silent.
The league is getting rid of the Caitlin Clark haters. DJ Currency better move on eggshells, bro. She's the only one left. She is no longer in the league, crying online about it.
No flagrant, no technical, no ejection, nothing. The referees let it slide as if it had never happened. Clark picked herself up, dusted off the hit, and kept playing. But fans didn't forget. The clip spread across social media like wildfire. Replays were analyzed. Pundits exploded with takes. Commentators across the spectrum all asked the same burning question: how does something like this happen and go completely unpunished?
Caitlin Clark is the cash cow in this league. She is the needle mover.
Man, oh man, when Caitlin Clark does something, everybody celebrates. When Caitlin Clark does something, there is no jealousy.
The WNBA stayed quiet, but the internet wouldn't. Hashtags trended, memes circulated, outrage mounted. And slowly, the pressure built, not just on DeShields, but on the league itself. The message was clear. If you won't protect Caitlin Clark, who are you protecting? And if this was the treatment your biggest star receives, what does that say about the future of the league? The silence from the top only made things worse. What should have been a quick response became a boiling scandal.
Caitlin Clark played against the Chicago Sky and she got cheap shotted, and there is a sequence of plays that's crazy, and it leads to Caitlin Clark telling her team, is it Erica Wheeler, that she wanted to fight Diamond DeShields.
At first, there were no headlines, no breaking news banners, just a quiet fade into the background. After the viral hit on Caitlin Clark, Diamond DeShields didn't face a suspension or a public reprimand. Instead, her role started to shrink. Minutes disappeared. Rotations changed. And then, without warning, she was gone from the Chicago Sky. No press release, no warm farewell. Just gone.
She assaulted Caitlin Clark on the court right before Caitlin Clark came off the court with 3:52 left.
But this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a strange, silent unraveling. The New York Liberty picked her up, offering what looked like a second chance, but that lifeline snapped fast. Another release. No explanation. Then came the Connecticut Sun, late in preseason. Maybe this was it, the final opportunity to salvage a career teetering on the edge. But just one day before the season opener, the hammer dropped again. Cut. No drama, no ceremony, just a door slammed shut. The message couldn't have been clearer. You mess with the league's golden ticket and you're out.
Diamond DeShields actually getting waived from the Connecticut Sun just one day prior to tomorrow's May 16th WNBA's 2025 season tip-off. She looks heartbroken and in pain, with the news of her being waived from the Connecticut Sun.
Getting waived is crazy because, what do you do after you get waived? I got all my stuff up here that I drove in a rental car from Atlanta, and now I have to drive all my stuff back to Atlanta.
What came next wasn't a sports headline. It was a tragedy told in real time. Diamond posted a video online, sitting in her car, bags piled in the back seat, her voice trembling. She wasn't just out of a job. She was broken. "They'll send 3 to 5 boxes," she whispered. "But I've got more than that." It was no longer about basketball. It was about identity, purpose, and the public unraveling of a player who had once been on top of the world.
WNBA commissioner playing in house with these Caitlin Clark haters.
There was no bravado, no defiance, just quiet devastation. Fans watched, some with sympathy, many with disbelief. This wasn't a minor setback. This was the league shutting her out. The video captured more than frustration. It captured defeat. A career that began with promise now sat in the trunk of a car. The bags weren't just luggage, they were the physical weight of everything she was losing, piece by piece.
The team will ship 3 to 5 boxes, but I have more than 3 to 5 boxes worth of stuff.
If you are not producing, if you're not giving them what they need, if you're not putting them stats up, if you ain't putting up no numbers, you're gonna be out of a job. Again, look what just happened to Haley Jones. She just was on Instagram the other day, excited about closing on a home. The very next day, the Atlanta Dream just cut her.
If it had been an isolated incident, maybe the narrative would be different. But fans were quick to connect the dots. Kennedy Carter, Chennedy Carter, other players who delivered hard fouls, subtle digs, or passive-aggressive shade toward Caitlin Clark were suddenly vanishing. Suspensions, benchings, roster cuts. The WNBA wasn't announcing a crackdown, but actions spoke louder than words. To many, this wasn't coincidence. It was a purge.
As the lovely Lee Ross always says, women in sports do not want to see other women in sports succeed. It's just the way they're built.
That's all I see. They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court.
Commentators started using the word cleanse. Clark's critics weren't just being challenged. They were being erased. Diamond's fall wasn't just personal. It was symbolic. She became the face of what happens when resentment turns physical, when aggression turns into career suicide. The league had made its choice. Caitlin Clark wasn't just the future. She was the standard. And anyone who couldn't handle that wasn't welcome.
Somebody said that the Diamond DeShields flagrant foul on Caitlin Clark was more dangerous than the Kennedy Carter one.
While Diamond's career spiraled downward, Caitlin's was soaring. Sold-out arenas, record-breaking viewership, endorsement deals. She wasn't just playing the game, she was changing it. But the most shocking part? She never clapped back, never tweeted revenge, never threw shade. She took the hits literally and kept moving. It was that quiet confidence, that ability to let her game speak for itself that made her even more dangerous.
There's the two sides who think she is only popular and does have the notoriety and recognition that she does because she is white. There is the other side that says you guys are crazy, you're all jealous of her, and she is just talented.
Clark didn't ask to be the league's savior. She just showed up and balled out. And the more she played, the more obvious it became. This was a movement, not a moment. She wasn't stepping into the spotlight. She was becoming the spotlight. And the league? They noticed. Brands noticed. The world noticed. Caitlin wasn't just helping the Fever, she was boosting the whole WNBA. The message was unmistakable. Protect her at all costs.
And that's what a lot of these women are doing, is they feel like what we have done for this game, this young player has come into our game and she's getting way more respect and all that stuff than we are. As she should. The young girl is a baller. The young girl has people watching because of the way she can shoot this basketball like Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't dunk. Steph Curry don't do none of that in the game. He can probably dunk by himself, but he don't really do none of that in the game. He is a shooter, and fans tune in to see Steph Curry. When I look at Caitlin Clark, fans are tuning in to watch her. And you know who that's helping? Everybody else. It's helping the Asia Wilsons. It's helping everybody else, the Plums, all that. It's helping all of them, the Tarasis.
Because everyone who tries to guard Cece winds up.
Then came the whispers, the uncomfortable conversations that fans and analysts couldn't ignore. Was this about race? Was it about resentment? Or both? Caitlin Clark, a white player from Iowa, had walked into a mostly black league and instantly become its face. To some, it was a triumph. To others, it was a slap in the face. And when her hardest fouls came from black players, the pattern became impossible to ignore.
To me, yeah, jealous, sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step foot in the pros, right?
Yeah. Commentators, both black and white, started raising eyebrows. This wasn't about one hit. It was about energy, vibes, tension that had been simmering for months. Clark symbolized something bigger. A shift in power, in marketing, in media attention. And some players weren't ready for that. Not because Clark didn't deserve it, but because they had waited so long for the league to care. Now it finally did, but only after Clark showed up.
With the increased attention this year, there's also been increased scrutiny about the quality of refereeing. Curious if there has been any conversation about whether it's referee pay, referee training, anything to ensure that is as good as it can be.
Yeah, and the one thing as a very long-term sports fan I know is that officiating and refereeing is always at the top of a fan's list, of the media's list. Obviously, we work hard on training. We work hard on consistency. Obviously, not every, they're humans.
In the end, Diamond DeShields didn't just lose a roster spot. She lost the league. Not because of her talent, not because she couldn't play, but because she crossed a line. The WNBA didn't need to issue a formal suspension. The message was delivered loud and clear. This isn't just about basketball, it's about branding, about future, about protecting what's working. Caitlin Clark is working, and anything that threatens that momentum, it's getting swept out.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games, but I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America.
Diamond's story isn't just a fall from grace, it's a cautionary tale. One bad decision, one act of defiance, one moment of reckless pride, and the system turned its back. But maybe that's the point. The league isn't tolerating grudges anymore. It's building something new. And anyone who doesn't fit that vision, they're not being coached, they're being replaced.
And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think, same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that she may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
She didn't gloat, she didn't post subtweets, she didn't demand headlines. Caitlin Clark just kept hooping. While critics whispered, she built a fan base. While defenders hit her, she hit shots. While the league hesitated, she rose. And in doing so, she exposed everything. The politics, the jealousy, the desperation. Her presence alone cracked open the WNBA and forced it to evolve.
When's the last time you didn't see Caitlin Clark talking about a teammate? When's the last time you saw Caitlin Clark talking about herself or any of the accomplishments that she has had? Let me give you the answer to that. Never! That's why their team has gotten good. She could have been an egomaniac. Everybody in the league knows that she is the league right now. Are you kidding me?
Diamond DeShields isn't just off the court. She's out of the picture. But her story lingers. An echo of an old era being pushed out by a new one. The league is choosing the future, and that future is spelled C-A-I-T-L-I-N. Anyone who stands in the way isn't just risking a foul, they're risking their entire career. Because Clark isn't just the best thing to happen to the WNBA, She is the WNBA now, and anyone who can't keep up, well, they'll be crying in the car.